Shabbat shalom, Yashda, Tida, Mashalom Chi, Kofi, Kohelet at servants of Christ, Tida, Barak Allah Sham Yahavat, Shalom Allah Sham Yahavat. I appreciate y'all being on Mondays. We're gonna start trying to get back in the habit of being on a little sooner, a little earlier on Mondays and Tuesdays because of class. So we're gonna try and make sure that we do that. So Mondays and Tuesdays will probably be around 7:45ish in the PM. But thank y'all for being on. Apologize for running a little bit behind, trying to make sure everything's straight for class. We start our classes this week. So if you haven't gotten information, if you missed the first classes tonight, it is my goal. It is my goal. I'm striving to make sure that we reach out to everybody by tonight, at least via email or possibly DM if you're on TikTok. It is our goal to make sure that we reach out to everybody. If you are on a YouTube channel, if you go to the YouTube channel, all of our videos, pretty much all of our live videos now, for about 3-4 of them have had the classes on them, and it has the information for September 29th to October the 6th. And we try to send an email out to people about September 29th to October the 6th. So feel free to go in there and look for that. But we give all honor and praise once again to the Most High. We give all praise and honor to Him for my wife, the honorable Bible, who lives a life is able to be honored. You can check her out on TikTok, YouTube, her website, and Pinterest at Bloom and Flourish. Not A&D, the letter N. Bloom and Flourish. She is a healer, herbalist, chemist, and biologist by degree. And we're thankful and grateful for what the Most High is allowing her to do for the community. And thank you guys for supporting her. The tincture of the month is still stinging nettle, amongst many other things that you can get. So we appreciate you. I'm sorry, Mabuma 7 Jube. I do not know who you are. So I apologize. I don't know what you would like to talk about. If you'd like to put it in the description, you can feel free to do so. But we're going to get back to what it was. We started a Q&A session for the evenings, and then all of a sudden we had the 7 last words. So we did Q&A this rising, but obviously we'll be getting back to animalistic behavior in our series. So I would like to use at least a few weeks. Who knows if we'll do this all the way through classes, but we're going to kind of just, I think we're going to call this playlist Questions with Kofi or Questions for Kofi or something like that, right? But if you have questions, comments, concerns, whatever, feel free. Somebody had suggested a long time ago we do something called like Coffee with Kofi or something like that. We might do that for Patreon. I'm thinking that because I'm way behind on the stuff and brain dump. I'm thinking we might just make that a brain dump thing, right? I'm thinking we just for the second tier we'll do it, for this everybody on the tier on Patreon for a little bit, but then starting next week, I think for the second tier we'll just get up early every day, except for Wednesdays, and maybe I'll take off Wednesdays and Sundays, but we'll just get up early every day. And when I say early, I mean early because we got to be up earlier, even earlier than early rising Bible study session. But we'll get up early, maybe do about half an hour or so each time. But anyways, thank y'all for being on. So we're going to call this Questions with Kofi or Ask Kofi. That'd be interesting. Ask Kofi, right? Maybe we could change the playlist name to that or something. But Ask Kofi, Questions with Kofi, whatever. So just for a few weeks to make up for the fact that I know our live sessions answer questions, but don't necessarily get directed, because as we grow, I have less chance to be able to talk to you guys one-on-one, even though we have a great ministerial staff and people who contact you guys that can answer a lot of these questions too. But, I get it that some of this interaction you would like to maybe be with myself. So today's the day, fire away. We'll be doing this for the next few evenings. I take Wednesdays off. I have the weekends off, minus our special sessions on Sundays from time to time with my wife, as far as evenings are concerned. So yeah, if you have a question, feel free. What foods would plant? I'm sorry, do you mean what foods would I plant? How you doing, Brother Vincent? And hello to everybody on all the platforms. Appreciate you. How you doing, Brother Kayvon, everybody? So you said, were you saying what foods should we plant? What foods am I planting? Because some of that is regional too. So if you're over in Cali, man, you have a plethora of things that you could plant. Because a lot of your stuff can last year round. So it depends. And if you're planting something inside, because even though we have, property in different places we go and different land that we're able to plant things in, or even do the raised beds thing somewhere, we're going to try that more this year than we ever have, because we're going to probably look at executing that for YP 83 in the area that we're looking at getting the land in. So we're going to try it out in our own area. But what I would suggest It's Q&A. It's just questions. We're gonna be doing questions in the evenings until the Holy Spirit says otherwise. All right. How you doing, Sister Night? I would suggest. I don't know. Yes, Sister Latoya. I think I texted you the link to fill out for classes, but I can just add you. Matter of fact, I can do so while we're talking just to make sure I can add you to the Hebrew characters again. So no biggie. But yeah, and it's uh-oh. Well, I don't want to say your business out loud. I think I remember what your email is off top of my head, off rip. But yeah, so those are let me see. But yeah, it depends on. I'm sorry, Brother Vincent. Getting back to your question, so it depends on what you're trying to do, where you're trying to go. I mean, I would grow no matter where. Now the soil has to be different things, and you might want to do raised bed situations, something like that for some of this, and I'm going to mention. But I would say no matter what, make sure you got the potatoes together. I think potatoes is like, as much as everybody acts like they're bland, it's almost like just guaranteed. Um, it's pretty much guaranteed that it's gonna be a blessing, to you no matter what. I would always think potatoes, sweet potatoes as well, both of them roots, really anything that are roots, but obviously roots, you got to be prepared to let stuff grow and give some space and things like that. So that can be kind of difficult, but potatoes you could even do in a bucket, like inside your own home or something like that. I would make sure you do the three sisters. If you can do in California, you should be able to do the three sisters: corn, squash, and beans, right? And be able to have the corn grow up. You have the vine that can wrap around, and then you have you have something to be able to help the foundation as well. All three of them also, giving the nutrients, things like that. I think that's something that'd be real easy and real nice, real. I won't say real easy to do, but it's something that once you get going, it works really well. I mean, you guys can grow all types of stuff over there as far as citruses. Maybe if you have space for something like pineapple, you could do pineapple over there pretty easily. So I would get into some of those items and some of those things for sure. But yeah, it depends on where you are. I think you should let certain things, like people don't think about weeds. Stuff like deal weed grows really easily. I try to grow that almost every place I travel to. If I'm gonna be coming back there, deal weed. Not just deal weed. I'm sorry, give me a second. Dandelion, of course. People tell you not to let it grow, and it's this and it's that or whatever. Grow it, and even if you want to control the growth, make sure it only grows in a certain area or whatever. But it's worth it. A lot of weeds, especially things that are bitters, but in general, but like dandelion especially, is going to bless you medicinally. I used to, when I was eating even spaghetti and stuff really heavy still, or even when I started going over to quinoa more, I would just cut up a lot of dandelion. I'd throw it in the quinoa or throw it up in the stuff. A matter of fact, there's times when I see dandelion, I just scoop it up and eat it right there. Especially if I know that the places are being sprayed. You always have to be careful of that nowadays. So you might want to wash it off if you're unsure about it, or even do some different things that might be able to let it soak and maybe pull out some of the chemicals and things like that before you eat. But yeah, there's a lot of things that just grow every day. Get some wild, what they call wild lettuce. Wild lettuce actually grows in between cracks of the street. Get yourself some wild lettuce and just let it grow wherever. And I'm big on. I'm not saying let your stuff get out of control to where you got mosquitoes and all types of stuff growing up in your place and spiders and everything. But I'm not into manicured lawns. My wife and I are not really into manicured lawns. Make it look like it's been cut every single day for 75 years straight and all that stuff, because you're actually cutting a lot of the nutrients and a lot of the stuff out, and you're actually hurting the grass. And they have to do a lot of stuff to manicure that grass that's not even necessarily natural when you see people get that look. So I would grow stuff that grows pretty well. Like the three sisters. I would even like let stuff sprout. Even like people don't even think about the fact, even if you never plant it, I would try to plant it, of course. But let's say you never plant a potato, let the potato sprout and then eat the potato sprouts, right? Let the garlic, even if you're not going to eat Just plant the garlic, fine. Get some garlic that you just let sprout and eat the garlic sprouts. Get some turnips, right? And just let the turnips sprout. You've got power greens. These are things that you could easily come together and do. So those are some easy ones that I think would be beneficial to everybody. Um, the reason why I think you should also plant some as well is you never know what the modifying that's done nowadays is as well, not just the spraying, but the modifying of the plants. If it's man-made, I want to go ahead and put that if it's man-made, because some people do this weird thing. Well, carrots were something that was made by man, so technically it's chemical. Chemicalized doesn't always mean bad in this sense that if man has made it, are we talking about man just made a hybrid? Because a hybrid is not necessarily always bad, you know, right? Like eggplants are somewhat bad for you because, like the purple ones are somewhat bad for you because they basically, especially some of the newer ones they do, and they're trying to make it to where it's easier to eat through and you don't have to take the seed out. So you can just bite through the seed, which means the seed is not as great for you as the original eggplant, right? Because the original eggplant looks like an egg and the seed is a lot more, is a lot more dense. There's a lot more to it to bite through. So in a sense, like, that's not a great hybrid or a great man-made fruit, because eggplant is a fruit. Anything that has seed is a fruit. But also like carrot, is the carrot, or the part that you eat is the carrot, the orange part or the purple part or the white part, depending on what kind of carrot you're eating. That's a root. And yes, it's man-made, but it's excellent for you. You said eggplant's bad for you. So no, Sister Bert. So I was just saying it's like, because some people do this weird thing where like everything that's man-made is bad for you, right? Or everything that's not natural or in its original form, even though in nature you have things that cross-pollinate anyways. But some people do that. So I get why somebody would say, like, so if I were to use eggplants, a lot of eggplants, especially if, well, I don't know about the area that you shop in, because you probably got a little better quality of stuff in some of the places that you might be around. But you know how it is, like when you go to certain places and the eggplants now, they're trying to make sure that there's like no seed in it at all, or the seed is so soft. But if the seed keeps getting softer and softer and softer, that means that it doesn't really last, right? So it's something that actually is not as beneficial for you as if you had actually gotten the original eggplant or gotten the eggplant that has seed type thing. So I'm not saying eggplant is bad. I'm saying that man made eggplant what it was as far as cross breeding, cross pollination, right? Like I can't remember which one is original. I think lettuce is original, and then like cabbage and broccoli and all types of other things are hybrids that man or people, man only breeding certain types of lettuce with other types of lettuce, and so that's how you got like a lot of these greens that you eat. So, and now is broccoli great for you? Sure. Are parts of it hard to digest? Of course. But is it still, great for you to eat, especially the parts that are softer, the leaves and different things like that? Of course, So even though it's man-made, right, it doesn't mean that it's naturally like a chemical formula, right? Just because something's been chemicalized or altered or modified, and I have to be careful about this, and I have to be honest. And if I've made y'all feel this way, I apologize, because I can see how some of my teachings might even kind of support that kind of rhetoric. So I apologize if I've ever taught anything like that that's confusing. But so yeah, we don't want anything modified and chemicalized in that manner, right? To where you start dealing with a formula. However, right, there are non-formulaic or non-altering of formulaic principles we can use, right? Things that we can use to still grow plants and do them naturally, right? Are you planting some? Amen. Yeah. Matter of fact, we had somebody who will remain nameless for different reasons, but somebody, how we be saying all the time, if you got issues, try to find some lettuce or some cabbage. If you have some pains and stuff, and go ahead and wrap your arm or your leg or whatever inside of it. And it blessed them last night. So these are things that are natural for sure. Most def. Yeah, but great question so far. We only got a little bit of time, but I'm still here to serve just for a little bit more. I got to get ready for class. Our classes on Mondays and Tuesdays. Then we'll have two classes on Mondays, two classes on Tuesdays. So our first class will start on both those days at 8:30. So our Mondays and Tuesdays will be or won't be shorter, but we'll be starting on Mondays and Tuesdays a little earlier, so we can make sure that we get this stuff in. Oh wow! Hey, Minister Janice, how you doing? Long time no talk to you. What can be grown in a window garden and an apartment? So when we were still in the area over there, by the way, Minister Janice is a minister. She's with the Dominion Church at Joy House. She's actually a minister that I was blessed to be able to train and help out. So we praise Yah. So she's like ministerial staff, so to speak, to us, like family, so to speak, to us, even though technically I guess we're not going over there anymore. But she takes care of a lot of people, has great stuff, and even is helping people with marriage and things as far as that as well, and does a lot of things as far as life coaching, etc. However, yeah, some things that grow on the windowsill and is we were growing. We literally went to IKEA, bought some shelves, some metal shelves, got rid of a lot of stuff in the living room because, there's only a few of us. Even when we had a bunch of family coming over, hey, we had a pull out couch there, everything else. Like, we got bedrooms, beds, y'all do what y'all need to do. But we kept the living room, that area of it for things that were growing. And we grew everything from, we started having pineapples root. You can cut off the top of the pineapple. A lot of people just chunk it away, but the top that has, the leaves and everything up top, you could just chop that and put that in water and let that root. Remember, I don't know if you were there yet or not, but I think you were when my wife, she brought a bunch of tomatoes to Dominion on a Sunday, and she brought a bunch of tomatoes and gave them to people so they can grow food and things that day. When she did that, that was stuff that we grew right in the windowsill. There's a lot of stuff. I don't. You know what? Y'all give me a second. I know we're running short on time. I got to be careful, and I got to make sure I put it back, or else I'm gonna get in trouble. Right? I'm grabbing my wife's stuff, but I'll even show you. I can't show you. I can't bring everything here because we don't have much time. Maybe one of these lives, like we can go outside or something and show you some of this stuff. But let me just show you some of the stuff that we're growing inside, right? And how easy some of this stuff is. Give me one time. I'll go outside and grab one more thing. All right. So here we have. I could be wrong about what's in the green cup, right? And I showed you guys at the last place that we've left. I showed you guys we were growing onions on the windowsill, right? So we were eating onion greens and all types of stuff, right? So you can use even little things like this. Like if we're going to keep plastic and stuff like that, anyways, instead of putting it into the earth, you can just use some of the stuff and keep some of the containers or things like that, or go to the Dollar Tree, buy some of this stuff, right? But so here you just got sandwich bags, cups, and you got things like tomatoes and other things growing on in here. Actually, so what we have beets in here, right? Beets growing, Congo watermelon, all types of stuff, right? And I'm not gonna take it out the plastic, but hopefully you can see on the inside, right? And this is just stuff that's sitting on the windowsill. Arugula. Well, arugula's not in this one. Sorry, arugula's gonna be in what I show you next. I think these are beets. You can barely see those, but there's beets growing in this one. This one right here. I think this is just okay. Yeah. So something like that, right? That's just windowsill, right? Yeah. There's holes in the bottom of the cups. Yeah. Holes in the bottom, holes on the side. Matter of fact, for this setup, you don't really need holes on the side, but it depends on what you're growing. You got to look into what you're growing because certain soil has to be aerated in different ways, right? And this right here, these are collard greens and arugula. Arugula is one of the bitters that we use for Passover, right? So this is simple. So the plastic right here, if you see like condensation and all that stuff or whatever, you don't even have to really worry about watering it, things of that nature. Condensation, this is a greenhouse effect that's being used. So that's why this is in here. So when it's open, you notice you'll even see a little bit of water splashing around when I open it up. It's very moist inside. And you have arugula and collard greens growing. And these are just, containers for eggs. So you got a seed put in each container, right? You let it grow in greenhouse, and as it's ready to go, you take it to the next level. So it's not, and a lot of this stuff sprouted in darkness, actually. A lot of this stuff was actually sprayed with water, put in paper towel. Half the paper towel was dry, half the paper towel was wet, and it was put in plastic bags or sandwich bags, put in a dark place. You could even put them on top of each other because they're all in bags anyway, so they're not going to cross pollinate or they're not going to like cancel each other out in a weird way. And then as soon as you finish or whatever, they grow, they sprout a little bit, and as they're finished sprouting, you take them out, and now you start putting them in here to where they go from sprouting to growth. And then from here, the next spot's going to be from growth to, a pot. And then from a pot to maybe either in the land or, in a raised bed. So, you can grow a lot of stuff easily. Like I said, a lot of stuff can just sprout. A lot of times when we see a potato and the potato starts eyeing or it starts growing like a little bit extra and stuff, we start going, up, we got to get rid of that potato. Almost messed up and got in trouble. I told you I got to be careful. But you'll see something sprouting or whatever, and we'll go into this weird place, and it's like, no, like, let that sprout, right? Let that grow. You can go ahead and grow a lot of stuff pretty quickly. And like I said, even if you don't want to plant some of this stuff, I would suggest you do, because you should have something that's your own, right? But even if you're going to say, well, I won't plant this, but I'll just let the garlic and the potato and the sweet potato and this and that sprout, well, let them sprout and eat the greens. Let the turnips sprout. Let all these carrots sprout. Let these are roots. So these roots, they need eventually to be put in soil, but they'll start letting things grow out of them, even without getting that much water, believe it or not. That's how awesome this stuff is. You said, does a potato have to eye before you plant it? There'll be somebody out there would say no. I would say the best results by far are going to be if you let them eye, right? Like let them eye, let them start to sprout, and then you want to probably put them in the ground at least like 4 to 6 inches underneath the soil. And by the way, with the potato, here's the awesome part about it. I'm going to show you guys one day. I haven't bought any up in this area, so I got to go get some and let them sprout so I can show you guys. But the awesome thing about the potato is that I don't know about the sweet potato as much. I believe so, but don't hold me, I could be wrong on that one. But with the potato, let's say it sprouts in multiple areas, you can cut off a chunk of it and it'll still grow out of it. That's how awesome like the potato is. So if you got like 3 sprouts going and they're separate enough, I can actually cut off one spot and cut off another spot, put them in the same soil in different places, and they'll all grow and expand and give more root. So it's best to let it eye and or let the eye go and let it sprout. Right. Same thing with garlic. I showed you guys, before we came up north, I showed you guys, if y'all had seen on some of the sessions, especially when I was doing in the room with the line in the background, I was showing y'all the onions and the garlic and all types of stuff that we had that was already growing and moving, and how we had some of the stuff outside in cups, even before you get to the land part or whatever. Right. So it's not as difficult as you might think. Right. It's difficult in our minds. It's difficult to wrap our brains around how this works. It's difficult for us to believe, or to just get used to, I can get my own stuff from my own place. Like I don't have to put on my schedule, go to the store, yada, yada, yada. Like I can just go outside, right? I can literally have my own beets medicine, I can, I literally great for the heart and the blood, right? Purple, reddish. I can literally, have my own watermelon growing. By the time it's going to be summertime, it's a little too late to, make watermelon happen in spring, but that's when you want it anyways, right? By the time summer hits, we'll be able to have our own watermelon, right? And it's just interesting. It's weird to us to even think of that as a possibility because we're just not used to doing it. Amen, right? Agriculture is part of our culture, so we're just not used to doing it. Thoughts on growing mushrooms? I think growing mushrooms is great. Just be careful, especially if you're going to try and do it in your house. You need a dark place and all that, and obviously spores move and different things of that nature. They have a lot of stuff. Now, I haven't tried this in a while, but I did grow. I don't remember how it turned out, in all honesty, but we did get like mushrooms in a box. They actually have some stuff you can get like mushrooms in a box and actually activate it so that the spores and everything grow inside a box, and you can just eat mushrooms out your own box. If you grow mushrooms wherever you're growing them, it needs to make sure that it's cold or cooler. Oh, cold somewhat, but cooler, and make sure that it's dark. Most of them are going to grow better in the dark. Yeah, Brother Divine grows mushrooms. Yeah. So yeah, and also be careful what kind of mushrooms you're growing. Not all mushrooms are created the same way. And if you're gonna go, please don't be somebody foraging for mushrooms, because even herbalists, like my wife, would tell you, mushrooms and plant life are different. Right? There are some people that would tell you, I don't get into evolution, but if you want to use these evolutionary terms, there are some people that would tell you that mushrooms are closer to human beings than plants are. Right. So yeah, mushrooms are like a weird, like mushrooms create societies. If you put, mushrooms or things that turn into mushrooms into a maze, they will actually like come together and make and find a way to get to whatever it is that it needs to eat to survive. Like, so mushrooms is a whole. So you got to know mushrooms will kill you if you're not careful, right? But if you go and get like mushrooms in a box or something like that, or maybe you want to try something with portobello. Now those things, once again, you got to worry about its spores and things like that. So you can't really go to this unless they don't really take care of their mushrooms correctly that they're giving you. You can't really go to a store, buy mushrooms like you could buy fruit or something like that and try to make sure that it sprouts. You can't really do that the same way. But yeah, mushrooms are definitely beneficial for you, especially certain types of them, like portobello mushrooms. They're great for people who are dealing with mucus. And mucus for a lot of us is the majority of why a lot of us are even sick. So, sinusitis, appendicitis, spinositis, sinusitis, like even tendonitis, or basically like any itis, arthritis, any itis is basically going to be linked to mucus in some way, shape, or form. Too much of it in the area your body trying to fight. So, portobello mushrooms are actually great for helping to cleanse that out. Like anything else, and all the stuff we're talking about eating and planting and doing all these things, though, ensure that you're ready to keep eating those things, right? Which is right, like treat it like medicine. Food is medicine. Think about food always as medicine. What part of my body am I trying to improve upon? What part of my body am I trying to have a preemptive strike to make sure things are straight? What part of my body do what I like to make sure is developed? Am I feeling like I'm getting enough calcium? Am I getting enough magnesium? Am I getting enough, chlorophyll? Am I getting enough? Like, you want to make sure that whatever you eat, am I getting enough H3O2? Right, which is water that comes specifically from fruits, which is going to be better for you than H2O, because a lot of your H2O shouldn't just be H2O, it should be H2O with other things, because if you're drinking water from a stream comes with nutrients. So a lot of us are drinking water without nutrients in it. So there's a lot of different things that you want to think about and all those things. But I do have to get ready to take my leave. We have class. And for those who have Sovereignty 1 and Sovereignty 3 with us, we sent out the links to those who are interested. You guys pretty much know how the donation and everything works out. We'll talk about that on the beginning of the class, just to make sure everybody has no questions, comments, concerns about it. But we thank you guys. We honor you. We appreciate you. We've been trying to send out the links for not only the classes for a little bit, but also we've made sure we're trying to make our rounds. We're sending out the links for the Feast of Tabernacles as well. So if you're interested, or if you'd like more information or whatever, there's a lot of stuff in there already that will help us to be able to make sure we're better prepared for you guys coming. We'll have our payment system set up for that pretty soon to take the donations that you guys, should you choose to give them. But thank y'all. We appreciate you. We honor King and Queen, each and every one of you. And for these lessons in the evening, we'll just be kind of doing some questions together for a little bit. So we thank you. I'm going to try. I'm extremely tired, if I'll be honest with y'all, but I will try my best to start getting up with y'all, those who want to get up, especially on the Patreon family, Patreon Kingdom. I'm gonna try starting tomorrow. Let's see if we can get up, or even if you just watch it later on, you don't have to necessarily get up with us, but I'll try to see if I can start getting on about 6 a.m. Eastern New York time every rising. And it doesn't even have to be any more than 15, 30 minutes. Right, just sitting there talking, thinking things through. We'll see what happens with that, and maybe we'll make that, the tier for myself. That because the other stuff, it's just It's just not working. There's not enough hours in a day. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much, though. Please check out my wife, as always, the Honorable Maya, on TikTok, YouTube, her website, and Pinterest at Bloom and Flourish, not A and D, the letter N, Bloom and Flourish. She is a healer, herbalist, chemist, and biologist by degree. I thank you all so much for being on once again. As always, it's been Pastor Kofi, Pastor Servant of Christ, where we are always changing lives one mind at a time, but being the voice of the voiceless and speaking the unspoken. And until I have the great privilege, opportunity, and responsibility of being in front of you all again, please remember, as always, just that you are loved, you are necessary, you are majestic, you're fearfully, wonderfully made, and you, which is all of us working together, will be the reason why people who are in the system no longer have to be of it. Shabbat Shalom. And it is Shabbat Shalom because it's still the Feast of Tabernacles. It's still the Feast of Unleavened Bread. Praise y'all. Talk to y'all tomorrow. Shalom. Peace.